Yo, what's up, guys? It's Mastermind Bulls out of Florida. Pinellas Park, this like St. Pete, Tampa area. Holler at me on Instagram, TikTok. Man, it's cool. I've been, getting some feedback, some DMs. Man, I appreciate that, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, other new breeders starting out the game. They want to collaborate in the future, man. That's cool. Already had a few people, looking to do some business in the future, man. That's awesome. I wish them luck. I wish good networking with them also. So yeah, man. The topic of this new video, question that I have, like I said, I'm still learning. I was just at my boy's house this weekend. He breeded pit bulls in the past. I was asking him his some insight on how he went about things. Different things about my past videos about the bottle feeding, tube feeding, nipple feed, or, bottle feed, nipple feeding, the same thing, but, natural feeding. And then I was asking about, natural birth or C-sections. And he's kind of from the old school where they really weren't getting C-sections, and the pit bulls were able to have them naturally. So he was just having them natural back then. He really wasn't too into the C-sections back in his time. Not that he's super old. He's around my age, but I'm just saying, like, when he was breeding. So this question of this video is going to be, do American bully breeders, or any breeder for that matter, do they train their dogs on a regular basis? I see some do. Some do. Some don't. And then like I said, the more deeper I get, the more research I'm doing, and the more knowledge I'm chasing. Like I mentioned before, I learned there's a difference between, breeders, vets, and trainers, and I'm sure there's more people to the game, like groomers and stuff like that, dog groomers or whatever. But, I'm sure there's other, more that I don't even know about. But the ones I've been running into is breeders, vets, and dog trainers. So I realized there's a difference between all of them. I mentioned in one video where the vet and the vet tech, both of them said how their dogs were food aggressive with each other, and they would fight. They would fight during food time, so they had to separate them. And I was like, okay. It just in the back of my mind, real quick, I was like, oh, okay, they didn't. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a professional anything, trainer, breeder, none of that stuff, vet, any of it. But it kind of crossed my mind, thinking like, okay, their dogs aren't exactly trained, I guess, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. And then the more, I watch these other breeders, which is cool, man. Like I said, I want to stay out of all the drama. I just want peace, happiness. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just over here like, hey, man, asking for some knowledge, staying in my own lane. You know what I'm saying? The old saying, it goes, you stay in your lane, I stay in my lane, and we won't crash. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to crash, man. So I'm just chilling. Asking some questions, networking, man, trying to gain some knowledge. I like it. I like it anyway. I like learning new stuff. I'm interested. I love this breed. Super cool breed. I love it. So anyway, yeah. So I've seen some other breeders that's where it kind of sparked up my thought is I seen some other breeders, and they're like taking their dogs like, oh man, my dog doesn't even really go. He hasn't been on a leash much. And the dog's full grown. Full grown. I mean, he was doing pretty good on the leash. It wasn't like super, crazy or nothing like that. But, this where I was like, okay, this guy's a high level breeder, and multiple high level breeders that I've just been watching. Like I said, I have a bunch of buddies and friends, male and female, that breed, and I haven't asked them too much about the training, but just from the research I've been doing, I've been seeing that, and I was like, oh man, it's kind of crazy. These dudes are super successful breeders, and they're like, their dogs are wild, or they'll take them for a walk and their dogs are off the chain. See, the reason I'm asking this question is because my dogs are off the chain. You know what I'm saying? I take them out for a walk. I walk them. I walk them a lot. You know what I'm saying? So I take them out for walks, and it's just like even though they're puppies, but they're starting to get real strong now, man. They're like two lions just dragging me, and I'm trying to train them. You know what I'm saying? I've seen the different methods where you just, hit a pit stop and turn around and yank them. I really don't want to do the yanking type of thing. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to yank them. Then I used to have just a regular collar. I tried the harness on there, then in the beginning, I don't even put the harness on them. We're like, man, you put a harness on, they're just going to drag you even more. So I'm like, nah, no more harness. So I had the regular collar, and they were just dragging still. Now I have the choke chain. I'm not going to do the one with the teeth in it. I don't know what it's called, but it has like the claws, like the choke chain with the claws. I'm not going to do that one. So I have the regular choke chain. When I first put it on them, they were like, hold on, this is new. Okay, I'm not going to drag too much. Now they don't even care. They just strangle themselves the whole time. Like, oh my God. So I'm walking them and they're dragging. I'll get back to the methods that I've learned and I'm trying. I'm starting to get some success with just my words. It's weird. So, there's the one method. You walk, you're walking. All of a sudden you hit a clean turn, yank them back the other way. I'm like, man, that's not, I don't feel like that's the greatest. You know what I'm saying? Just yanking them around like that. Then there's another one where you walk, and then you just stop when they're dragging you. You just stop. They drag, then the puppy, is kind of like, all right, you don't continue until they stop. And then, those are the two methods that I was really kind of, I need to try the treat one where like you have a treat next to you and you keep them with the treat. But usually I walk them, I walk them separate, and then I walk me and Sunshine together. And then Capo, he's getting better because he's still a puppy. He just turned 4 months today. Today, exactly. He turned 4 months today, exactly. And he last night, he walked a little bit. Like, he tiptoed out. The first time I tried to bring him, he just didn't even walk. He just went to the edge of the driveway, and we just sat there. And I was like, cool, let him take in the environment. Let him take in what's going on here. So my wife walked him. After that, she said she made a little progress. He was, still nervous. I guess, there's a lot of cars, a lot of stuff going around. We're kind of more in like a city area, not like a New York City, but like a city area where there's a lot of cars, there's people. So then, I took him out last night and he walked and he tiptoed around. He walked, at least he walked. So I'm like, all right, cool. But my two other animals, man, they're just so, so the past, I think last night, cause I walked them too. And I think the night before I was like, you know what? Opposed to me just stopping short because I'm walking. They got the choke chain on. Then I stopped short. They stopped for a second. And as soon as I start going, they just start dragging again. And they do not care. I'm talking about like, we'll get to the little park. I try to go to the dog park when there's nobody else there. Cause my dogs are too, they're still kind of puppyish and then they're real playful and, they bark and then they get cranked up. Like like I said, they're on some Snoop Dogg stuff. Like, hey, we go handle some gentlemen or we can get on some gangster stuff. But for the most part, they're cool. But then when so I try to avoid them bringing them to the dog. Not only that, plus all the other diseases and stuff like that. And I don't want them fighting with nobody. I did take them to the dog park a few times. They ran into other dogs and they were cool. But I'm like, oh man, because there's two little areas. I'm like, oh man, I just hope when I see someone walk up, because usually I go at nighttime after training and teaching. And I'm like, man, I hope I see somebody walk up with their dogs. Usually there's nobody really there at nighttime. I'll see when someone walk up their dogs. I'm like, oh man, I hope they don't come in here. You know what I'm saying? Like, please go to the other one. And for the most part, they do. And there's two little like areas. One time I bring them out there and there was like an older pit bullish mix. Her name was Mocha. She was like this brindle older dog. And she was kind of like, man, she growled like, get away. You know what I'm saying? Get the, F away from me. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I kind of laughed. I'm like, Mia, Sunshine, come on, man. She didn't want to play with you. Like, they were jumping and trying to be happy. But it's like an older person around some kids. They're like, man, watch out. And she was like, I think she was like 12 years old, like probably human years. So she was like, man, get away from me. Then there was another Cane Corso that came out. And that one was like, I think 4 months. So he was gigantic, way bigger than them. And they were all playful because they were puppies. And then the dog owner had like a shock collar on them. And, I'm not really, me personally, I'm not into the shock collar. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but his dog was more like, yeah, I'm training. I think it was him. He's like, yeah, I'm training him. So that, and I'm over here like embarrassed because I got these two wild animals that are just roaming around, running and crazy as hell. So I'm like, man, I need to train them. So I tried, like I got them to sit and stuff like that. And they listen to me in the house. I'm like, hey, it's time. Let's go outside. More or less training. It's like, we're kind of not so much exact training, but we're like on the same page. Like I'm like, hey, if they're chewing something like my son's toy or something, like, hey, and then they'll stop. They understand like no and go outside and go inside when it's time to go back in their deal. And, and another thing I'm learning, man, you just got to clean. If you notice my little video, it's just cleaning, and then I clean and then they, get dirty again. Then I clean again. It's all good. It's like a little extra conditioning for me. You know what I'm saying? Extra little exercise. I look at it like, yeah, I'm burning some more calories like this. So with that being said, do breeders train their dogs? And I see there was another one saying like, hey, I was seeing how many. I ran into another cat last night, and he said he started out with like 4. I think it was like 3 to 4 females, straight females. So now I have my 2 females and 1 male. I don't know. I'm still on the fence, but I'm leaning towards just, hey, let me just get some experience. I don't want to, I'm open-minded to different things. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, when buddies like, multiple people I've already heard say, hey, don't overinvest in the beginning. Don't get too much. Nobody knows who you are, so don't get too much. Don't start. And I'm like, you know what? That's right. Because I start getting cranked up. Hey, man, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And I'm like, you know what? Even though I have already been getting, like I mentioned in past videos, people asking for puppies. I got people asking for puppies and people in the DMs either wanting to work. And I've had another one I might, I got some other ones that want some puppies, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not ready yet, quite yet. I have some other breeders that I networked with that possibly, we might be able to rehome some of these puppies. But, and that's good practice for me at the same time. But, yeah, with that being said, it's like, man, I just want to train my pups. And I get it. If there's too many puppies or too many dogs, then it's going to be very hard to train. Another thing, my wife had sent me this thing on TikTok where that day the pit bulls killed the owner. I was like, oh man, they look like they swarmed them. And, does that go back to training? Does that go back to there was too many dogs to take care of? Or was this guy a bad person? Like, I know dogs don't just really just attack people for no reason, especially if they're yours and you raised them, especially a pack of them. So I don't know if the guy was abusive. I don't know if something was wrong. I don't know. Nobody really knows exactly what the story was, but the dogs did kill him, man. And that's messed up. So that goes back to either having too many out of your hands, not being able to manage them, or did it have to do with training, or was it straight animal cruelty? And them puppies, I realized that, man, puppies are going to grow up one day. So you got to be careful how you treat them. You know what I'm saying? Just like anything, they're not going to be small forever. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're dealing with like pit bulls. And I mean, any kind of dog could really do damage. Even a Chihuahua could do damage if it wanted to. So this is Capo right here, tiptoeing around. He's still young and trying to get used to the sounds and everything. So yeah, that's my little video is, should you train your dogs? If so, how often are they training their dogs? Is there too many to train? Is everybody just letting them out of the kennels, run around and then bringing them right back? Or do you train your foundation little squad? Who's getting trained. I realize that me and Sunshine, they're getting older. They're still puppies. Sunshine she has turned 7 months, and you got Mia's 9, 10 months now. And yeah, they're kind of training the little ones. So yeah, that's a little video for the day, man. Thanks for watching. Hit me up on Instagram or TikTok. Peace.